Introduction. Understanding the burden of the pastoral office. Pastor Adeboye begins by setting the tone that being a pastor is a sacred trust and not a profession. He explains that pastors are spiritual custodians, watchmen, and ambassadors of Christ, entrusted with lives, destinies, and eternal souls. Therefore, excellence in pastoral ministry is not optional, it is a divine mandate. God does not use a man he has not first made. Pastor Adeboye. Chapter 1. The Divine Call, the foundation of pastoral excellence. Every excellent pastor must first be called by God. Hebrews 5 verse 4. This call often comes with a burden, a spiritual weight that compels the individual toward ministry. A man not called by God will either abuse the office or be destroyed by its demands. Authenticity of calling gives the pastor the grace, strength, and authority to function effectively. Pastor Adeboye emphasizes waiting on God for clarity before stepping into ministry. Chapter 2. The pastor's personal life, building on a holy foundation. The pastor's personal life is the true foundation of his ministry. Holiness, purity, and consecration are essential. Without them, his ministry lacks power. Prayer, fasting, and study of the word must be daily disciplines. An excellent pastor must fight off pride, lust, greed, and worldliness. He must constantly die to self and live for Christ. Galatians 2 verse 20. Adeboye illustrates from his own life how God taught him brokenness, sacrifice, and obedience before exalting him. Chapter 3. Excellence in family life, the pastor's first ministry. Before leading others, the pastor must successfully lead his home. 1 Timothy 3 verse 5. An excellent pastor is a faithful husband, raises godly children, prioritizes time with his family. The integrity of the pastor's family life directly influences his credibility and spiritual authority. Pastor Adeboye shares how his wife, Pastor Folu Adeboye, has been a pillar in his ministry, highlighting the importance of spousal support. Chapter 4. The Word and Prayer Life, Tools of Divine Excellence. A lazy pastor cannot be excellent. Daily immersion in the Word and intercessory prayer is non-negotiable. The Word must first work in the pastor before he shares it with others. Prayer is the fuel of divine power, and without it, the pastor becomes spiritually dry. Pastor Adeboye stresses the need for long hours of private fellowship with God, where strength, vision, and revelation are renewed. He also discusses prayer and fasting as keys to sustaining fire on the altar. Chapter 5. Shepherding the Flock, a pastor's core mandate. The primary duty of the pastor is to feed, lead, guard, and guide the flock. This includes teaching sound doctrine, providing godly counsel, protecting the congregation from false doctrines and spiritual attacks, guiding them in decision-making and spiritual growth. Compassion is essential. Without love, ministry becomes mechanical. Chapter 6. Leadership and Servanthood, the Paradox of Kingdom Authority. In God's kingdom, the greatest is the servant of all. Matthew 23 verse 11. Pastoral excellence requires humility and servanthood. Pastor Adeboye reveals that many failures in ministry come from leaders who desire honor without humility. He teaches that God exalts only those who are willing to serve in obscurity before being announced. He uses his own RCCG journey, from interpreter to general overseer, to show how submission precedes elevation. Chapter 7. Handling criticism, persecution, and temptation. No excellent pastor will be free from opposition or trials. Criticism must be handled with grace and wisdom. Sometimes it's correct and can sharpen the pastor. Persecution is a badge of honor in the life of a true servant of God. Temptations, sexual, financial, and pride must be overcome through discipline, accountability, and vigilance. Pastor Adeboye recounts some personal attacks he has faced and how God turned them into testimonies. Chapter 8. Excellence in Administration and Vision Casting. The excellent pastor must be a wise administrator and visionary leader. Pastor Adeboye teaches that every ministry must have clear goals and objectives, faithful stewards and leaders, financial accountability, delegation and training of other leaders are essential for growth. The pastor must be open to learning modern tools while staying faithful to spiritual values. Chapter 9. Growth, Evangelism, and Discipleship, the pastor's fruitfulness. True pastoral excellence is measured by fruitfulness, not just in numbers, but in souls matured in Christ. Evangelism is not optional. The pastor must personally win souls and also equip others to do so. Discipleship is key. The goal is not just crowds but Christ-like believers. Pastor Adeboye describes the RCCG's massive evangelistic efforts and the role of strategy, structure, and spiritual fire and growth. Chapter 10. Final words. Seeking God's approval, not man's applause. The excellent pastor does not work for human validation, but for divine, well done. Rewards may not come instantly, but God is a faithful rewarder of faithful servants. Pastor Adeboye encourages pastors to press on despite challenges, knowing that eternal crowns await. Conclusion. The excellent pastor is more than a manual. It is a mirror. Pastor Adeboye calls every minister to examine themselves, rededicate to divine standards, and pursue ministry that glorifies God above all. The book combines deep spiritual truths with pastoral experience, making it a timeless classic for ministers at all levels. If you enjoy this audiobook summary, do well to like and subscribe for more insightful and faith-lifting book summary.